booth was Zach, publisher of not only these 5 titles that you have today, but you also have a lot of others in your catalog. But let's talk about the ones we have here.
Absolutely. The games we're showing off here, we got 2 horror games. The first one that's going to be coming out is Scp Secret Files. If you're familiar with SCP, you've got this government facility, you've got all these anomalies that are trying to escape, and you've got to put them back in their place. We're focusing on this narrative story where you're going to learn about them and try to put them back and get this really intimate knowledge about who they are. No Return is our other horror game. That's about a man in modern China trying to get back to his family, but there's some force keeping them apart. It's got this very heavy foreign horror film aesthetic that is absolutely amazing. Poo-Poo's Adventure Park is a theme park building game. You're on an alien planet. Goblins are making everybody unhappy. Build them a theme park to make them happy again. Guidebook of Babel, you're on this ship called the Babel, where you don't know how you got here. There's all these crazy characters, and you're going to document all these stories and put it together in your book that you call your Guidebook of Babel. And our other anime game, Witch Spring R, you're a cute witch anime girl, you got magical powers, turn-based RPG where you gotta save the day.
All right, so let's talk about each one real quick. So starting from the top, Scp Secret File. This was actually on my Steam wishlist for who knows how long. Because I got to a point where it's like, oh, let's just wishlist every SCP game. I regret some of those decisions, because some of them I'm like, oh, I don't know, bro. But this one actually looks really cool. My girlfriend played this on day 1, and I was like, oh, I gotta step away from it and use the restroom. I come back, she's not here. She's like, I got too scared.
Yeah, SCP Secret Files, it is got so much hype for it. The SCP community as a whole have been really excited for it. It's a lot different from a lot of the other SCP games out there that are just, hey, here's all the SCPs all at once, figure out what you're doing, and it's very hard to get into if you're not already intimately familiar with SCP knowledge. Like, if you didn't study the wiki, you're gonna die and you're not sure why it happened unless you find the right thing in the game that tells you what happened. And here, because we're taking such a slow look at each SCP, the demo that we have is an hour long and it only really covers 2 or 3 SCPs really well. But what you gotta do is you gotta learn what their behaviors are, what they want out of you, and what you can do about it.
It seems a little unfair because, what, there's 10,000 SCPs now? I gotta learn all of them? I read the first one, it was all redacted, I gave up.
I don't even know how many there are, but like, and then how are you supposed to know which one the good ones are, right? Like, unless you already know or someone recommends to you which ones to read, you're gonna be thrown in there.
Let's get to the next one, No Return. This takes place in mainland China?
Yep, so No Return is in modern day China. Very incredibly heavy foreign horror film aesthetic. There's a lot of culture that takes place in here. It's very important to it. A lot of that family dynamic that becomes very vital to the story. And what happened between this man, his family, why are they not together, how does he get back? That's what we're all focusing on.
You said there was an external force preventing that, so some sort of spiritual, paranormal.
I'm not gonna get too much into it. We gotta leave a little bit to the mystery here, right? Like, what else is a horror game here for mystery? But that's what you're gonna discover. Why isn't what he has with his family? Why can he not get back to him? What's keeping them apart?
It's all allegory. This next one you talked about, the Guidebook to Babel. So when you described it, at first, my first thought was Tower of Babel. They cannot communicate with each other as a result of someone else's hubris. But in this case, I'm journaling what everyone else is doing, so why that little bit of a flip?
So the Babel is just like all these different cultures, all these different ways that they would communicate, all these different sources of information. Normally you wouldn't see these type of people interacting with each other. You wouldn't see these people being able to talk to each other. So that's what you're gonna try to do, is figure out like, why did all these people get together? Why are they on the ship? And what is their story?
Okay. I was not anticipating anything like that here. That's actually really cool. Then we have Poo-Poo's Adventure Park, just roller coaster tycoon to keep people happy.
Absolutely. You got these like cute little fuzzy things. We got cute chibi characters, and part of it exactly like roller coaster tycoon, right? You build them a park, you set people to work, you make them happy, and it's got this very kawaii aesthetic of all these fuzzy things that you're gonna put on the theme park rides. Keep them safe from the goblins.
It's a lot like when emperors would throw on the games at the Colosseum in ancient Rome. It's like, well, we have a problem coming up. How do we make people forget? Well, we got to keep these goblins at bay. What do? Well, we got a roller coaster.
You know, there's a lot of bad things that happen on a planet, but sometimes, like, especially now, modern days, like, I don't know about your mental health, but my mental health is definitely like, I'll just not think of the bad things sometimes. So, like, let's fill our life with good, happy things, and that's what we'll do in the game.
So Witchspring R, I saw it, I want it, but I don't know anything about it.
It's got the easiest pitch for me this weekend, right? Like, you see this cute anime girl, if you want to watch her cast some magic and you want to save the world on a turn-based RPG, that's really all you need to know. It's got that very classic type of combat. You can see the turns going on. You can see you have your action, you have your magic, and it is set in 3D, so where you're casting the magic matters, where the enemies are matters, but it's that simple. She's fighting all these cute things, and she's gonna save the world with her magical powers.
So I guess my 2 questions is, do I get a party in the game, or is it just me trying not to lose by myself?
We're not exploring that too much right now, but at least in the demo, it is just solo with her.
When can we anticipate a release date for all these titles?
Most of these titles are not coming out until 2023, but SCP Secret Files comes out on September 13th, and No Return comes out this Halloween season.
My last question is, Witchspring R, why is there an R in the title?
Yeah, we actually have another game, Witchspring, that came out on iOS and other mobile platforms, but Witchspring R is them taking the same IP, but bringing it to PCs and consoles.
Oh, so it's a straight up sequel.
Yep, it's a different game, but we're gonna take it and move it to other platforms away from mobile.
Okay, I'll have to play the first one first to understand what's happening.
No, Witchspring are absolutely a standalone experience. You can play without understanding the rest of it and have a great time.
Oh, that works out in my favor then. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
What's going on, guys? I'm with Elena, and she is from...
Raw Fury.
Want to tell us a little bit about you guys?
Sure. So Raw Fury is a publisher that's based in Stockholm, Sweden, but we also have a development studio in Croatia. So our sort of core tenet for games is that games are art. So we're looking for games that do something a little bit different than your usual game. Not trying to look for clones of anything really, but trying to find a game that does something in a new way.
So a unique perspective, right?
Yeah, and that can take the form of just visual art, but it can also be audio art, or a new mechanic that you've kind of never seen before, a new take on something, or something that makes you feel a certain way that you maybe don't get from every game.
It's interesting you said art, because your games are absolutely stunning. They're the game about the street racing, the little bike, the guy with the bike.
Yeah. Kingdom?
Yeah, sorry, not street. Yeah, sorry, Street something, right? Street Kingdom.
Kingdom 80s.
Yeah, that looks fantastic. I was walking by, and I just like stopped because I was like in awe how beautiful it looks.
Oh yeah,
for an
the
April.
water on that one is gorgeous.
That's what pulled me to that right away, and my son was playing with it earlier.
Oh, awesome.
Do you want to talk a little about that game and how it came about?
Sure. So Kingdom 80s is actually an installment in a franchise. The franchise that, to an extent, launched Raw Fury. It was one of our first games was Kingdom New Lands. And then Kingdom 2 Crowns in 2019 was sort of our multiplayer installment and sort of an update. And then this is a spin-off of that. So this one's a little bit more of a narrative experience. The other ones are side-scrolling, sort of kingdom builders. This one has a lot of the same mechanics, but then it also adds on this element of narrative. It's got cutscenes, it's got progression, and it has a clear ending.
What platform is it on?
It's just going to be PC to start.
So are all the games only on PC for now?
No, we have a few that we've announced console. Most of the ones here are a little ways out from launch, so we haven't announced exactly which consoles yet. But we often do ports to console, to mobile, to Switch. So we try to hit everyone. We try to get sort of access to our games to as many people as possible.
What other games do you have here right now?
Yeah, so the other games here that we have, many of them were just announced in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Okay, wow.
So Friends vs. Friends was announced at Gamescom's opening night live last Tuesday. Mr. Sun's Hatbox was at IGN's Awesome Indies show last Friday. And then Tales we just announced in the last 2 days with an IGN exclusive. But that one is a prequel to Backbone, which came out last year.
So with PAX finally being open to everybody, because the last couple of years we had something called COVID. What have you been seeing and hearing from people that come and playing some of your games?
I think a lot of people didn't necessarily know who Raw Fury were before, because we have had a lot of growth in these last 2.5 years. But yeah, it's really amazing to see people get introduced to Raw Fury through these games. Like, every game that we've ever published has something truly special to it. This is just starting to get to a volume where you have a little bit of everything for everyone. So when people come through, if they're really not into sort of a first-person shooter, we have an incredible narrative pixel art game for them, or a very casual and, I want to say, more calm game for them. And sometimes we just have family-friendly toys to play with too.
Where can people go get more information on you guys?
Yeah, so we've got our website, rawfury.com.
Go check it out.
And also we've got a publisher page on Steam, so you can kind of see most of our catalog there.
Thank you so much, Elena.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Go check out Raw Fury, all of their games. It's awesome.
I'm back with Ocean Drive Studios on day 4. I'm with Jim Sang Kim, creative director. Tell us about this other title that you're on. I can't pronounce it. I practiced all night.
The Lost Eidolons.
Because I only read it, it's like, I wonder how they say that. I don't know. But tell me about this one and how it compares to Blackout Protocol. I played both. Vastly different games. One's turn-based, one's more arcadey. But tell me about this one.
Okay, the Lost Eidolons is a turn-based tactical RPG game, which I have huge inspiration from, like Fire Emblem and my previously developed game called Legend of Cao Cao. So this is a classic turn-based and tile-based as well RPG game, where the main character called Eden journeys through the corrupted empire to break down.
I did feel a lot of that Fire Emblem inspiration with the constant leveling. But when it came to this title and you decided like, oh, I'm gonna not only put those inspirations, I want to do my own thing. What did you bring different to the table that people can expect?
Well, first, I wanted to stick to the basics. So I really wanted to feel the same like level of the intense gameplay of the Fire Emblem. But then in addition to that, we wanted to have more like differences between, from the Fire Emblem, where we have like a magical synergies, where you can, let's say, throw some water magic on the enemy unit, then they will be wet, right? In wet status, and if you put like a fire on them, guess what? You're gonna get less damage. And or if you throw like a lightning magic, then you get extra damage.
Yeah.
And you can actually change the area by throwing poisonous back. Then you will have a poisonous area where if you throw the fire magic on it, it will explode. And such synergies will be made among like two different mages, or if it's already there in the terrain, then you can utilize your strategy by using those kind of magic.
So throw in real world science in as a weapon.
That's right.
I also liked how there was a bush on fire, but I would have to run through it every time I did my attack. And so during the animation, I got to go through those flames. I really like that touch.
Well, we wanted to really show when you put the fire on the bushes, and if you go through it, there will be, it will be like just how you did it. It will be there. If you throw like water on it, then the terrain will be watered.
And how long have you been developing this title?
Well, we've been developed for like 2.5 years, more than that. Yeah, it's getting about to be like 3 years now.
And when are we expecting that release date?
Okay, the release date is October 13th, just a month away.
Okay. When I came here, I saw you had a challenge. You have to play the game without losing a single unit. And also, I didn't do the challenge, but I just played the 10-minute demo, and that was way too hard. Why the decision to ramp up such difficulty?
Oh, well, you play the normal difficulties, and well, guess what? I thought that wasn't that hard, so then maybe because I played too much.
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep it that way because it's for the fans of the genre, and I know these people really love the challenges. And that's how I want to keep my game like that. But then, not only we're going to have a normal difficulty, we also going to have the story mode where you can purely focus on the stories and not think too much about like battling. And we also have hard difficulties, which will be really, really hard. It's really hard for me. And then we also have an option to begin with, where we call the permadeath mode, where you have a character killed during the battle, then that character won't be able to join the battles afterwards.
Speaking of the story, tell us about it. What's the story of this journey?
Okay, yeah, the journey is that It's about the Eden character, where he's only the normal mercenary character from the small town called Lonetta, and he accidentally goes into trouble with the Lord of Lonetta, and he finds out how corrupted he is and the entire empire is, and here and there's a rebellion rising, and he joins the faction and he goes against the empire, and you will see the story.
So the gameplay itself is inspired by turn-based tactics game. What about the story? Where do you pull your inspiration from?
The story is actually from the histories. I mean, I look through the histories of the like China or Korea or even the Europe or any other countries. So I've been having a lot of ideas from those kind of histories and the Rome as well. So I get a lot of ideas from that history and try to tweak a little bit and put it into the story.
I really like the voice work from what I heard in the game. When it comes to that decision making of like, oh, I want this character to sound like this because he has this type of personality. How do you arrive to that decision?
Well, we set up all the personalities for each character, and the voices. We got a lot of voice audition for that, voice actors, and we try to hear everyone's voice, and we chose like this one is for this character and that one is that character, you know.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.